Hi everyone, my name is Katie Sorrell and I am going to give you a brief overview of what I did for my ethnography. So I'm going to go over my introduction, my setting, the meeting that I worked on reviewing, and then my critique. So I currently work as an undergraduate admissions counselor, and every single week we have weekly staff meetings. Typically they are on Mondays at 1 o'clock. If an individual needs to miss the meeting for any reason, typically it's okay. The director will just fill the student in on, or the staff member in on anything that they missed. So it's a pretty informal meeting, but it's a little bit more formal than just general conversations that we might have with each other in passing. So typically we talk about updates to programs, updates to training that we're going to be doing. We also discuss every week the weekly benchmark goals for the enrollment goals. So we talk about how many students we have who have applied, how many applications we've processed, how many students have been accepted, and then how many students are committed to the university or deposited. So those are kind of the general things that we discuss. In the fall, we sometimes have staff meetings every other week, but at this point during the year, we have staff meetings every week. So overall, the setting is, like I said, pretty informal, but we do host the meeting in a conference room that's not too far from the admissions office. The conference room is it seats about 15 people comfortably around a large circular table. It's completely appropriate for someone to bring their lunch or to step in late. That happens pretty frequently because we have students and families visiting the school. So if someone's visiting and the meeting with a family runs over, then the counselor will just step in late. Because we're in the recruiting business, essentially, families and students take priority over something like a staff meeting. If the staff meeting is going to have a special guest that day, or if it's going to be a little bit more formal than normal, then the director will notify the staff members ahead of time. So, and then, like I said, oftentimes it's okay to bring a snack or a drink because sometimes we don't get to take a lunch due to meetings with families. So it's a regularly informal meeting, but it's a little more formal than a general conversation, and the director does guide the meeting with an agenda, so it's pretty structured. So in the beginning of the meeting, when everyone gets there, usually staff members get there about 3 minutes early or right on time. And the first few minutes is usually just small talk. The counselors kind of chit chat about, their weekend or what's going on or what kind of day they have, and the director usually takes part in those conversations. So he kind of, jokes around and everyone just kind of catches up. During that time, we also call in our regional counselor who lives and works out of Philadelphia. So we call her in using the teleconferencing system so that she can be present for the meetings. We all say hello to her. And then after everyone arrives and gets settled in, we start the meeting. The director usually tells us, the logistics of how long the meeting is, supposed to be and how many things we have to go over that day. And then he begins by directing the meeting and making some basic announcements. So for the particular meeting that I wrote about, we discussed new developments in financial aid packages for students. We discussed a new program that we're going to be, a new program for some of the counselors that we're going to be using called Deposit IQ. We discussed enrollment snapshots, and we discussed students who had won presidential scholarships, as well as any announcements that individual counselors might have. So overall, the financial aid discussion was basically the opportunity for the director to tell us what kinds of